Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about famous rappers who are endorsing President Trump. This has happened a number of times recently and in the past too. Previously we talked about how Kanye West was a bit of a Trump fan a year or two ago when he visited the White House, said Trump was actually helping black people, and that was a pretty big story of the time. And more recently, over the past few weeks, a number of other significant rappers have come out in favor of Trump, which we've talked about too. We talked about how Ice Cube had been working with Trump. He has a plan to help black people and help his community through different forms of support and changing of rules and stuff like that. And Ice Cube said he went to the Biden camp and they told him to wait, but then he went to Trump and they started talking. So he's working with Trump gladly. He didn't even actually endorse the guy, although working with him is some kind of tacit approval. He didn't directly say go vote for Trump or anything is the point, but people came after him because of that, just like how they came after Kanye West. It shows the real hypocrisy of the left because they claim to love black people, but really it's only when they vote for them. If the black people are in favor of Democrats like how they're supposed to be, as the Democrats would say, they think they're entitled to the black vote. And that's why they get really triggered when it doesn't turn out their way. And that's what happened with Kanye, with Ice Cube. And then a third rapper came up just last week. We did a video about 50 Cent. 50 Cent then said he was going to vote for Trump. He said it was because of the high taxes that were planned by the Democrats. This turned into another controversy. It actually resulted in 50 Cent's former associate Chelsea Handler calling him out. She got very racist and biased, saying, oh, basically 50 Cent's not really black. That's kind of what Joe Biden said a few months ago on his campaign. He said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And that's essentially what Chelsea Handler said too. This actually resulted in 50 Cent, I believe, flip-flopping. He kind of reversed course. I don't know if it was because of backlash or he wasn't really expressing himself properly, but that story kind of went back and forth. But that's not what we're really here to talk about today. Today we're talking about another additional rapper who is in fact supporting Trump. Very similar to what happened with 50 Cent too, except a different rapper, a different younger rapper, a new generation of rapper, and his name is Lil Pump. I'm actually not too familiar with his songs. I've heard of the guy before. I've heard a few of his songs before, even on the radio, but in general, he's a bit of a newer guy. Like I said, he's coming up and he's supporting Trump. As you can see by this article, it says Lil Pump endorses Trump for upcoming election on social media. The rapper showed his support for Trump over Joe Biden's proposed tax hike. So this is another person saying, hey, I don't want my taxes raised. Biden is promising to raise taxes. He claims it's only for rich people, but we all know that's just how they get themselves in the door. First, they tax the rich people, then it eventually comes for the middle class. Either way, taxing any of us more is going to affect us all. It's going to cause less money to go into our pockets, meaning rich people that are taxed aren't be able to spend as much. They're not going to be able to hire as many people or start companies and make more jobs. So it's a bad plan all around. Glad to see a rapper like Lil Pump coming to our aid and supporting the president like he should. Not sure about his attire choices, but he definitely does pick a good presidential candidate. Lil Pump has endorsed Donald Trump for the 2020 U.S. election on a number of posts on his social media. The rapper shared a photo on Instagram yesterday, October 26, featuring his face photoshopped on the former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe shaking hands with Trump. The day I met Trump, Lil Pump wrote in the caption, followed by the hashtag Trump 2020. And there's the picture in question. Obviously, it's photoshopped. It's just a little joke. And it's just, him. It's just him posting stuff to his followers, as is his right, as many other celebrities do on the Democratic side. They are all pushing for Biden, obviously, and that's their right. We might disagree with that, but I've never told them not to. Sometimes they do it in inappropriate ways that we disagree with. We also obviously disagree with their reasons for voting for Biden. Biden is obviously the worst choice. Clearly, he's corrupt. He's old. He's senile. His son does illegal drugs. They take money from foreign governments. Lots of bad stuff there. And that's why this story is interesting. To reiterate, something I mentioned in the 50 Cent video is to give you an explanation, because sometimes this can seem hypocritical. Some people will say, hey, how come conservatives support celebrities when they support Trump, but then they attack celebrities when they support Biden? And I could see that in the simple way. If you don't look into it, it seems like it could be a bit of a double standard, but actually it makes sense when you break it down, because essentially all celebrities endorse Biden. All of them are left wing. That's the establishment. That's not news. That's just them going along with things. Whether or not they agree with it, I mean, I don't know. But essentially, since all celebrities endorse Biden, that's a lame thing. boring and it's not really news. But when it happens for Trump once in a while, it's actually interesting. It's actually fun and cool to talk about. I'm not saying it's not okay or it's okay or whichever. I'm not trying to create hypocrisy or double standards. I'm just noting this story. It stands out. It's not something you normally see from a rapper, especially. This is a community that is focused on African Americans and their experience, and it's their go-to form of expression. So to see a number of them come out in favor of Trump, it goes to show the connection between Trump and rappers, actually. I didn't really think about this much, but this goes back to Trump being this rich guy and rappers respecting that. They like rich guys. They like money. They like to get entrepreneurial like Trump, and they like to be rich and keep their own money too. So it actually makes sense when you think about it. The other thing to note here is Donald Trump is a common line or word or phrase inserted into a lot of rap songs. Rappers like Nelly, rappers like Snoop, all kinds of people have dropped Donald Trump references. This was usually before he was president, though. He was a popular figure and business tycoon and TV celebrity before he was in politics. And it just goes to show there's a connection there. Rappers and Trump, they have some common ground, even though it might not seem like that. Even though on appearances, they seem totally different. It's like an old white guy and these young black dudes rapping. It's like a businessman. It doesn't seem like it's connected, but in reality, especially in modern times, a lot of rappers are big businessmen too. The rapper then followed up with a since deleted Instagram story that made his stance clear. And his video has a lot of profanities in it, let's say. But essentially what he said was he doesn't want to pay more taxes, 33% more in taxes. That's why he's sleeping on Joe Biden, as he would say, and he's getting woke on Trump. He says Trump 2020. We can't play the video. We can't even say the quotes. There's a lot of profanity in it. But this is his style. This is the way he communicates and the way a lot of his music is portrayed too. There's a lot of crassness to it. It's about speaking in a different dialect. And I'm not trying to defend it. I don't really care about cursing much. The internet cares a lot. When you're a video maker, you have to watch out sometimes because there's just certain rules on certain websites. But essentially, he had a profanity-laden support of Trump that reached a lot of his viewers. Lil Pump's support for Trump due to Biden's proposed tax increases echoed that of 50 Cent, who backed Trump on several occasions in the last week. Talk show host, comedian Chelsea Handler, who briefly dated 50 Cent in 2010, even offered to pay his taxes if he voted for Biden in the upcoming election. So that was more about the Chelsea Handler 50 Cent thing. They actually dated previously before, as this article said. That's what was interesting. She offered to pay his taxes, essentially offering to buy his vote. I don't know if that's legal. I think it's highly illegal, but Chelsea Handler is the worst. She's just the worst liberal. She's really gross lady comic who talks about crass things too. And yeah, she just tries to date lots of black dudes. That's her thing. And she basically thinks she's black because she dates black dudes. She's like one of those white ladies that's really, really racist liberal. Despite both rappers' concerns about Biden's proposed tax hikes, CNBC noted earlier this week that few, if any, taxpayers pay the full statutory rates, which don't include deductions, credits, offsets, loopholes, and lower tax rates on other sources of income. The other sources of income are said to be particularly important, given that most millionaires and billionaires get large chunks of their money from capital gains. When further number crunching comes into play, it is confirmed that only income over $400,000 would be taxed at the higher rate of 39.8%, with the first $399,000 taxed at lower marginal rates. So they're trying to defend the tax plan. They're trying to act like their taxes won't be raised. I highly doubt that because clearly these rich people certainly will be in that higher tax bracket. In addition, it affects everyone, like we were saying in the intro. It's not as simple as they claim. They're just trying to put their bias in here. This article is obviously run by some kind of liberal adjacent outlet. I'm not really sure much about NME, but it appears they're reporting this story in a way to show that Lil Pump is ignorant or not knowing. He doesn't get it. They put those quotes of exactly what he said with the curse words to try and make him look worse. But as I explained, he seems like a decent and smart guy. Sure, he's a bit of a shady looking rapper. He looks like he has prison tats, but he knows what he's talking about here. I'm not like saying everyone should vote because of the way he votes, but it's interesting the connections between Trump and these rappers and the fact they recognize that Biden is going to raise taxes. In addition, the article ends with this sort of bias like, oh no, he's not really going to end taxes. It'll be okay, guys. It'll be okay. Please, we know that Biden is going to change the face of this country. He's going to make us into a socialist nation. He's going to take rich people's money, distribute it how he sees fit, thinks he knows better how to spend our money than we do. It's absolutely insane, and our country will never recover over. They'll then pack the Supreme Court. Biden will be replaced shortly by a Kamala or someone else equally far left wing. We'll go down that rabbit hole of socialism. We'll become the next Venezuela or Cuba. We'll lose all our capital. We'll turn into this failed socialist state. We could be the next Soviet Union or China. I mean, who wants to do that? Who wants to be this sort of authoritarian ruled state with no freedom, with no money, with no opportunity? It's going to be insane, but that's what the left wants. And I think we're close to getting it done. So that's why it's more important now to stop the Bidens, to vote for the Trumps, and to get our country on the right track again. That about wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a good one.